Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about the different types of Chanel leathers. So Chanel has a bunch of different types of leathers. We can go from Calfskin to Caviar to Lambskin, and they also actually have a lot of exotic leather as well, although in recent times I've heard that Chanel has started to ban exotic leather. Like back then I know they used to have like crocodile or snakeskin leather and stuff like that. But for this video we're only going to be discussing the three main types of Chanel leathers. These are the ones that they constantly have in production and they're usually always found in their classic line. So with that, I'm going to be starting with the very first type of leather, which is the lambskin leather. Over here I have an example of a Chanel bag in the lambskin leather. So this one is a Chanel mini flap. This is in the old design, which have the 4 grommets, as you can see. And one thing I can say about the leather of this is that it's very soft and it's very delicate. So definitely lambskin leather in Chanel is very scratch prone and dent prone. These types of leathers are very high maintenance because not only are they easily scratched and easily dented because they're so soft, something that you have to consider is also the conditioning. So this type of leather with Chanel is the most high maintenance out of the three that I'm going to be discussing today. But despite this, although it's very high maintenance, you can definitely see how much more luxurious it is. I'll show you the other types of leathers later on, and you will definitely see like with the sheen of this leather as compared to the rest, like nothing can really compare to the lambskin leather. Additionally, lambskin leather tends to look better with age, like the sheen of the leather and how soft it is. I mean, lambskin leather with Chanel, as with any type of genuine smooth leather, these types of leather tend to really age very gracefully. If you're looking for an everyday Chanel bag, I would really advise not to get it in the lambskin leather because, as mentioned earlier, it's very high maintenance. Then we go on to the Caviar leather. So this is my Chanel classic medium flap in the Caviar leather with gold hardware. Now this one is an older Caviar already, but as you can see, it's still held up pretty well. This bag is more than 10 years old, so you can see like some of the quilting has already flattened out. So this is an example of what the Caviar leather looks like with age. So it tends to flat out as so, and it doesn't really have as much of an impact, I guess, as compared to if it were lambskin. I like the Caviar leather. I feel like out of all three, that's my favorite type of leather because it's really very durable. The lambskin, you can't scratch it, but with this and the calfskin leather with my reissue that I have there, you can scratch it. Like I'm not afraid to like do this. Like, can you hear that? Like I'm scratching it and you know, nothing. You hear it? Like I'm scratching it, but I don't really care because it's not like you can scratch it as much as you want and there will be no signs at all. So that's why I really like this type of leather. The Caviar is made of like pebbled leather, so like each quilt, if you look very closely, there are like little pebbles that you can see, and that's, I feel like that's one of the things that makes the leather of this very durable. So this is a very easy bag to wear, especially if you get it in black. This is something that will last you a very long time because the wear really doesn't show unless you like really beat your bags up to death, and I can say that I kind of already do, but with this kind of leather, the wear doesn't really show as much as if you use other types. The only feedback I get about this type of leather though is that it tends to be heavy because again, it's like pebbled leather and it's a little bit more durable and hard, like there's some weight to it as well. If you were to invest in a Chanel bag and it would be your very first, I would really recommend getting it in Caviar leather, black and Caviar leather, because you just really can't go wrong with this type. And last but not the least, we have this. This is the distressed calfskin leather from the Chanel reissue. So this bag is the reissue with gold hardware in the size 226, and this is what the leather looks like. So this type of leather already comes distressed. As you can see, like it looks old as is. Brand new out of the box, it already looks like an old bag because that's what the leather was really made to look like, so it's distressed. I guess what they're going for is like a vintage feel of the bags. If you zoom in, you can see like lots of lines on the leather, so there's some over there, and just basically like a lot of lines, lots of creasing on the leather. But Chanel really made the reissue that way, to have distressed leather and lots of lines already on the leather. One thing about it is that it's definitely lighter than the Caviar leather. I'm not sure if it's the same weight as with the lambskin. It probably is. So this type of leather is the distressed lambskin, and I feel like comparing it with the other two, this would be in the middle, because it's not as delicate as the lambskin, while it's not as heavy duty either as the Caviar. So this, since it's calfskin, it's still a little bit more soft as compared to the Caviar earlier, which like you can really feel how heavy duty it is. So this one, if you squeeze it a little bit, the leather would still follow. And yeah, I feel like the shape of this bag is more easily pliable. See? Because the leather is softer, it's distressed leather, as compared to the Caviar, which is like, it's really built to be hard wearing. I guess one thing I like about this type of leather is that it's very understated, because it's in between the Caviar and the lambskin, so not much people really recognize this type of leather. Also the design, not much people recognize the reissue either, so which is why I like it. Regarding the leather, this is something that you can scratch. I'm scratching it very lightly because it's a little bit more durable and hard wearing than the lambskin, but if you scratch it, some scratches might show, but not really all. Like, I can do this, whereas the lambskin, I'm not sure if I can, you know, confidently scratch my nails through the bag, because for sure it's gonna show. But for this one, I think you can, like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. And the nice thing about this is that since it already looks distressed, this type of leather, even if it goes through signs of wear, it's not really gonna show, or at least it's not really going to be obvious as compared to the other two bags, because it was really made to look this way. So if eventually down the line, like, this bag looks like beaten up already, or like it has so many scratches already because of how I used it, it's not really gonna be obvious, and people are gonna think it's actually still part of the bag because the leather was already made to be like this. So any additional scratches or lines on the bag, and people are just gonna think that, oh, it's really like that. So yeah, people aren't really gonna think that it's already old because it came out of the box looking old, you know. That's one of the things that I like about this leather. But so far, this one still looks really, really perfect, and still looks new to me. So yeah, this is how the distressed leather looks like. So there you have it. That was my review on the 3 types of Chanel leathers. If I were to rank all 3 of them, the lambskin, the Caviar, and the distressed calfskin, from best to least favorite, I would definitely have the Caviar as my favorite. And then second, following that, would be the distressed calfskin, and the third would be the lambskin. Obviously, like as I mentioned earlier, the Caviar is really much more durable than the other two, so I would really recommend getting that for first-timers who really want to invest in a Chanel piece. And following that, I mentioned the distressed calfskin could be your second possible option, because it's a mix between how hard and durable the Caviar is to how soft and delicate the lambskin is. So the distressed calfskin is also still kind of soft and pliable, but it has the durability and scratch resistance as the Caviar leather. And finally, the lambskin would be my last recommendation, because it's really just very delicate. Lambskin would be perfect if you're already like an aficionado, or if you're like an really avid collector already of Chanel, because it definitely really looks good. Lambskin is just a very beautiful type of leather, and it's definitely something to have if you've been a long time collector. And the way that the lambskin ages, it just ages very gracefully. So if you really love Chanel, then looking forward, a lambskin would be perfect to add in your collection. But it's definitely not what I would recommend for first timers and for those who are purchasing their bags for the very first time. So yeah, that's about it. My voice is very deep today because I'm kind of sick, and that's why my voice has mellowed down quite a bit. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. If you have any more video requests that you'd like me to do, then just comment them down below. And as usual, if you guys like this video and you haven't subscribed yet, click on the subscribe button down below, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at ChurchDLF. I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Bye!